What the fuck happened? This is a difficult year, but at least a lot happened. Let's start with the stuff I think is just pure bad. This year we got Lunatics Unleashed. I'll describe it like this. Lunatics Unleashed is that sitcom episode where the main character completely abandons their personality and begins acting awkward to fit in with the cool crowd. Every joke in the first episode rips off earlier Looney Tunes shorts in a desperate plea to remind you that this is still the Looney Tunes. Keep in mind that the Teen Titans were still running when this came out. It did not stand a chance. Robot Boy depicted the protagonist's mother as a thick, lustful lady. In one episode, the fat kid grabs her in the ass for a brief moment. Pavilion had the balls to give a white person a Mexican accent. I know what you're saying about 12 ounces mouse, it's a style. No, it's not. It's just lazy. Cat Scratch was essentially Ed, and Eddie Light. There was a CGI Bratz show, which had really creepy looking CGI. There was King Arthur's Disasters. Hey, ever want to see the Fairly Odd Parents without Blondie and with a lot of readable pricks? Then this is the result you got. It's indeed a disaster, alright. There was also the Buzz on Maggie, which was almost exactly the same as the other copy and paste sitcoms that sunk the Disney Channel's reputation. And finally, there was My Gym Partner's a Monkey, which was another Ren and Stimpy ripoff. In one episode, one of the main characters literally spends the whole 11 minutes eating bat guano. There's also Wonder Chosen, if you consider it as a cartoon. But that being said, this year we did have some good stuff. And I mean really good stuff. We got Avatar, The Last Airbender, which is my second favorite animated show of all time. I suppose that this show's existence shouldn't really surprise me as much as it does with all of the crap around here. But like I said before, we were still getting a lot of shows with more anime influence. This year we got Ben 10, American Dragon, Jake Long and the Life and Times of Juniper Lee. I really like the former and the middle, but unfortunately never got to see much of the latter. Other than that came Camp Lazlo, which wasn't amazing but it was good. It had one of those classic cartoon feels and it was much closer to capturing the charm of SpongeBob than, say, My Gym Partner's a Monkey. This was a good year for adult cartoons though. We got American Dad, which isn't as good as Family Guy was, but it's a lot better than Family Guy currently is. We got Robot Chicken, which is still airing 10 years later. We've got Moral Laurel, which is how you properly do a parody of Wholesome Life, Mr. Pickles. And finally there's the Boondocks, which was heavily on point. Movies are yet another story. Disney released Chicken Little and I absolutely hate this movie. The Magic Roundabout has two versions, one that was Kingdom and the other that was fucking awful. DreamWorks released The Curse of the Were Rabbit. It's probably the best movie released this year. Oh, and DreamWorks also released Madagascar, which was okay. Like Robots, which tried to make Blue Sky look like a banger. Honestly, the only other movies above C- level here were Valiant and Hoodwinked, two movies that weren't done by any of the major animated film studios. We've got a lot to talk about it, and not all of it is good. I don't even know where to start. Let's try the good stuff. Class of 3000, which I really like. It's a highly diverse show with an entertaining batch of characters and songs written by Andre 3000. It didn't last long for various reasons, and since they kind of conflict. Either Andre 3000 was sued by Timothy McGee, the show was too expensive to produce, or it was a victim of a writer's strike. Either way it's particularly hard to find episodes for nowadays. In the same level as The Replacements, good show, didn't last long, impossible to find episodes for. Both Polka and the Happy Tree Friends television show started airing this year, both shows that were pretty meh for my flash tastes. And now the bad stuff. Let's start with Capper Mickey. I can't find the commercial anywhere so I can't prove it, but I do remember commercials calling this show an American anime and saying the best thing that happened to Japanese animation is that it came to America or something along those lines. Yin Yang Yo is another one of those idiot brother and same sister stories that constantly take it up to 11. The Emperor's New School portrayed the protagonist as a heavily hip and cool fourth wall breaker. There was Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue, which may be the worst Scooby-Doo spin-off in history, but it definitely has the worst theme song in history. There was Growing Up Creepy, a show about a gothic little girl who claims to be raised by insects. In fucking sects. We already have the Buzz and Maggie for that, so who asked for another? And finally there's Squirrel Boy. Did you ever want to see Ed and Eddie without double D, without any charm, and the animation style of the Cramp Twins? Then Squirrel Boy is the show for you. 4 kids had Viva Pilot. Basically Microsoft wanted to compete with Pokemon so they got Rare to make this game and a television spin-off to go hand in hand. Unfortunately, they kind of missed the point. I really liked the video game Vita, but it had a very cartoonish style that wasn't very appealing to adults and gameplay that was too complex for kids. This is where the spin-off should have kicked in. The Pokemon anime actually teaches kids how to play Pokemon. It tells them the mechanics, what's weak or strong against what Pokemon can be caught in what areas, etc. The Vita cartoon had nothing to do with the video game. I don't know if this is a flaw or anything, but it's something that the video game really could have used to turn it into an amazing franchise. Either way, it's a lot better than their other products. It's not a good year for movies. Ice Age 2, The Meltdown is a cheap done for the sake of the first film's popularity. Barnheart is a movie that I'm kind of biased against. Home on the Range came out 2 years ago. I don't really want another one. The movie is okay except for the one small fact that male cattle don't have fucking udders. You've got a main character who has 4 penises flapping around in the breeze. Happy Feet had a really good first half, but a really messy second half, when it became blatant with an out-of-nowhere moral. Cars should be called boats, because it's just above C- level. Haha. Monster House was actually decent. There's Flushed Away, which was okay. And Open Season, which I remember nothing about. There's Over the Hedge, which I remember being absurdly bland. And finally there was The Ant Bully, which was a justly forgotten piece of mediocrity. The only to-be movie we got was Curious George, a fairly decent movie that doesn't even add up to the bland CG trash that came out this year. In the final stretch, things have gotten really, really bad. This year only has 3 good new cartoons, El Tigre, Phineas and Ferb, and Code Monkeys. And here's the thing, 3 of those shows were really good and they had a distinctive charm. Chowder is merely okay. Now let's talk about the ocean of badness. Wayside isn't awful, but the books that it was based on were insanely creative and they didn't want to use that gold platter they were handed and just came out kind of mediocre. Back at the Barnheart gave out the protagonist with 4 penises flapping in the breeze the catchphrase, "Milk me." And finally, there's Slacker Cats, which tried to cash in on Family Guy. All you need to know about this show is that it was originally going to be a kids show, but they decided to scratch that to produce an unfunny, less endearing, pile of pitiful crap. For adults. Let's look at movies. Surf's Up is nothing more than just straight up mediocre. It's just Happy Feet using drawn together style of reality mockery but only taking the raunchiness and vulgarity away. DreamWorks releases B-Movie, which is an aptly named title in more ways than one. Pixar released Ratatouille, which is my favorite Pixar movie. Disney made Meet the Robinsons this year, a movie I find highly underrated. Not to mention that we actually got to 2D movies, Persepolis and The Simpsons movie. But beyond those 4 movies, you won't find much. You'll find Shrek the Third, and not much else. It's not a good year. We've got The Mighty Me, because the networks are creatively bankrupt. We've got Making Fiends, because the networks are creatively bankrupt. We've got The Penguins of Madagascar, another spin-off, because the networks are creatively bankrupt. God, I don't like Flapjack, but it's pretty much the only thing that came out this year with any sense of creativity. Did we get anything good? Well, we got the Mr. Men show, which was interesting at least. I mean, it's more amusing than anything else, but at least it's something. We also got Batman, the Brave and the Bold, which isn't as good as Batman, the animated series. And The Secret Saturdays, because we need more than just a typical cartoon about a family. Let's talk about movies, because they don't fare much better. The best movie this year is Kung Fu Panda, which was DreamWorks' first real step to finding an identity. Nothing else to say right now.
I'm not coming in anymore. Everything I want is just outside the store. I'm not coming in anymore. Got too many friends on the outside that don't include.
We're almost done here. Let's finish this. This is bad. This is really, really, really bad. First of all, Fox gets The Cleveland Show. The Cleveland Show is one of the most dull shows I've ever seen. Here's the thing about Fox, they can't cancel The Simpsons or Family Guy. They've tried many times to give them a suitable replacement, but their audience doesn't want to see anything else, so it quickly crashes and burns. Let's talk about Cartoon Network, because this is fucking embarrassing. How many new cartoons did this channel get? 0, 0. None. Nada. Zip. The Cartoon Network decided that cartoons were passé and not worth anyone's time. Their own commercials announced this. Instead of any new cartoons, Cartoon Network gave us 7 live-action series. Why? To compete with Nickelodeon? They didn't have much at this point either. I thought that 2005 may have been one of the worst years for televised cartoons, but no, it looks like 2009 takes the cake. For movies? Well, we got Ice Age 3, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, as Blue Sky constantly milks the Ice Age franchise dry, and always will me. So we end with one of the worst decades in cartoon history. There's some stuff that's really good, but a lot of it, well, doesn't exist. The worst years of this decade have nothing happening. I mean, if Cartoon Network was trying in 2009 there would be more to talk about, even if their programming was worse. With the worst parts of this decade there just isn't much to talk about.
Oh dear, you've got a 404, this isn't what you came here for. Oh dear, you've got a 404, there's nothing here to see. Oh dear, you've got a 404, this isn't what you came here for. But now that you are here, let's have a 404 party. There's nothing here to see. Oh dear, you've got a 404, this isn't what you came here for. Now that you are here, let's have a 404 party. There's nothing here to see.